So thanks everybody for joining in. I mean, I know that this is busy time for everybody, and so I'm grateful for you all to join in, and hopefully we are able to make the best out of the short time that you spend over here. The agenda for today, we'll talk about what's happening in the festive season, the momentum that really happens at this time. And then we'll move on to talk about how you can extend your marketing dollars with conversations. Arjuna is going to share some very practical examples and tips and tricks that will help you get more out of your budget this time. And then Saurabh, who's here, he'll join us for an engaging fireside chat along with Vartika, which is essentially, he's going to reveal some tricks of the trade that will help us all. And then, it's all yours, audience. Ask your questions. We are here to address any queries that you have. So I think we were just speaking about, we are all marketers over here. And this is an image which really spoke to me because when I realized that festive season is just 3 weeks away, there is a lot of anxiety that kicks in. But at the same time, there is good news. So what's really happening is that despite all the talk about inflation and the economy not doing so well, customer spending is actually seeing a bright future. There is a lot of buoyancy in the market. The outlook is bright. In fact, if you look at last year's number, they were 25% higher than 2021 numbers during the last quarter of the year, which is October to December. And I think this data is specifically from October till around November, but until the end of the year and in fact, even after the new year is when you can see an uptick in the spending. And this year, it's going to be extra special. And that's for a couple of reasons. One is the festive season, right, which is Navratri, Dussehra, Diwali, Christmas, the holiday season, New Year, and so on. And there is also the Cricket World Cup, which actually kicks off from tomorrow, right? So there is sort of a double bonanza, which is in for marketers. And we know that a lot of you might have increased your budgets for the second half of the year. But what we also found, research is suggesting that there is pent-up demand. So while the phrase revenge spending might belong more to 2021 and 2022, there's still a lot of pent-up demand. 84% of the people say that their shopping budgets are actually higher. And a significant part of those are actually going to engage in hybrid purchases. What that means is that they're going to buy across offline and online channels. And that always is a good sign, because what that means is there is an opportunity to capture a higher share of wallet and build long-term relationships, because people who buy across channels actually tend to be stickier. So how do you do this? Conversational marketing is what will help you stand out across your offline and online channels. So I wanted to just talk about a few campaigns that really stood out and wowed us. And this will help us, get some inspiration and think about, what are the creative things that we could do, think out of the box. The first one is Maggi, which needs no introduction as a brand. But, before we get into targeting your own database and your own customers, how do you acquire customers better is the question that's on marketers' minds, right? So what they did differently was do conversational advertising, which is essentially driving all the people from the digital advertising, which is happening on Instagram or on Facebook, instead of them going to an app download or to a website sign-up page and so on, they actually are directed to a WhatsApp chat journey, which is really engaging. So here, there are two things that are happening as a result. One is that they are building their first-party database. Second, they are able to identify the intent of the customers, and they're able to retarget them very contextually. So they are sharing things like, cookbooks, recipes, ingredients of their different spice mixes that they make, and so on, and really inspiring people to, go festive. So this happened in Africa, in I think 6 countries or so, because that was a new market for Maggi. But the idea really is that they are building direct relationship with customers through consented first-party data. And in an industry which is CPG, where you typically go through retailers, this was a first. And these are some of the results that we got. So in a 10-day period during Ramadan in 2023, They were able to acquire 1.7K new customers. They exchanged 44,000 new messages, and this was more engagement focused, right? So, and then, I think they are further going from here and engaging in remarketing campaigns. The second one is this e-commerce player and marketplace, which has taken a very fresh approach to drive user participation through this crossword puzzle that you see over here. So essentially, there are words around of products that they actually sell, which is hidden in this crossword. So the customer comes in, finds those words, selects the right option from the menu drop down, and then they get a lot of deals that are running currently on their product. But it's very smartly combining gamification along with celebrity endorsement. So, when we think of promotional messages as one-way messages, one of the things that they could have done is just, if you look at the third screen over here, straight away sent the deals. But no, they made it more immersive, and so which is, some inspiration for all of us to learn from. Moving on, this is a D2C brand where they are essentially bridging the offline-online divide while building their first-party database. So if you walk into their store, you would see QR codes which are placed on certain key products that they want to drive interest in. And on scanning that, you get to know more about the product, understand the requirements, may even ask questions about, is this ergonomically correct for me? And the brand is able to identify the customer's intent based on, which products QR code did they actually scan, what are the kind of questions that they engage in. And they're able to then retarget the users with contextual messages about the product, personalized promotions, and even, ways to sort of drive conversions for that particular product. So I think this is very unique, whether it belongs in offline world, online world, it belongs in both. So I think definitely something novel for us to learn from. The next one is with Gred, which is around, the cricket season. So what's special about this? Definitely the timing. While this is not for this particular World Cup, but I think this is really timely at this point. So what they did is they created this entire quiz, which is asking people about, timeless questions about cricket in terms of who's been like the all-time highest run scorer, highest wicket taker, and so on. So it evokes a sense of nostalgia, especially during the cricket season. And then once you're done with the quiz, it also takes you to their app where you can redeem your for products or for your bill payments and so on. And, this is an example which, in my mind can be applied to any vertical and can be linked back to your business. So there are multiple ways of doing this, and we'll look at some of that in the next segment of our presentation. Okay, so the next one is in banking. And I wanted to add this example because there are, of course, people who want to balance their spending with saving, right? So when you think of a bank, of course, there are things that you can do around loans and so on. But this is an industry first. So Axis Bank is actually allowing customers to book an FD end-to-end on WhatsApp. And this went live, I think, a couple of weeks back. And the screen that you see over here, WhatsApp, this is the FD process that I went through yesterday. I'm an Axis Bank customer. So it's covering all aspects. So you get to know what is the FD interest for, different durations and terms. The nominee name is fetched automatically, and it shows the summary of the FD that you're about to create. And it's 3 clicks and you're just done. Right. So I think this is something which is very interesting. And let me just go to one last one, which, I don't know if anybody's able to guess this, but this is really different because when we think of messaging or WhatsApp, what we think of is, maybe text and images, maybe a video message, which is sent for marketing. But they did something very unique, which is a combination of audio and visuals, and there is some AI thrown in as well. So essentially, a user scans a QR code or gets a message where they are asked to, send a voice note, which the visual of which closely resembles the silhouette of a Coke bottle. So if you see over here, what they are doing is driving these entries, and this campaign happened in Brazil last year, and it went viral. So if you're able to recreate this particular silhouette, you win. And they had trained AI to actually identify these images because they had to handle the scale of the volume, the entries that were coming in, where it's seeing that, okay, this one is very closely resembling the bottle, and hence this is the winner. So I think, thinking out of the box, definitely, Coke has done a tremendous job out of this. So I think these are the examples that I wanted to share. And if you look at the key theme that's emerging from all of these is that messaging or communications, when we used to think of that earlier, it was all about one way, one size fits all broadcast messages. But now it's changing to conversations, to interactivity, to immersive experiences, right? And if you're wondering about the ROI and the value of all of this, I think I'll invite Archana to talk about some of the ways in which you can drive value from all your messaging campaigns. So Archana is also known as the WhatsApp girl here at Gupshup. So take it away, Archana.
Thank you. Thanks for that, Bhavna. And thanks for setting the stage as well. So hi, everyone. Thank you for making time for us in a short week. I will now share my screen and walk you through few use cases that we believe will help you drive ROI this festive season. While these are use cases that we believe will help businesses like yours scale and drive revenue from the WhatsApp Business API, I always say this: do not let our thinking or ability to think of use cases limit what you can do in any way, right? So if there's any unique use case or there's any bizarre idea as a marketer that you may have and you may want to implement that on WhatsApp, reach out to Gupshup. We'll make it happen. The whole idea of this webinar is to make you think on behalf of your customers that what you can do this festive season that will stand out, right? And therefore lead to ROI and outcome. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Just give me a second. Is my screen visible?
Yeah.
All right. While my screen is loading, my first key slide talks about the comparison between treating any social media app versus WhatsApp, right? Now, fundamentally, like Bhavna said, unlike social media, WhatsApp is not a one-size-fit-all, right? It has to be very unique to a customer. It has to be personalized to a customer's taste, and it has to be contextualized, right? But what is it doing so differently from a social media channel, right? Social media channels are a one-to-many broadcast mechanism where if you send a message to the customer, they may or may not see it. We're relying on third-party algorithms which are in place, and with a lot of those signals deprecating and not going back to those platforms because of data privacy and regulation. We know that messaging is always going to be one-to-one. You will always have the ability to send a message to an end consumer, and you will always be able to buy their attention of those 3 to 5 seconds where they will at least glance at their phone, right? How you monetize and make the most of those 3 to 5 seconds of that customer's time is the main winner here, right? So the more unique your use cases and the more thought it provokes in the customer's mind, the better it will perform. Coming to a couple of samples and journeys that have been executed and will work exceptionally well for this festive season. I'm going to go over a few examples quickly, and I'll also cover some best practices that should be kept in mind because we all know it's such a beautiful channel and a platform, right? So we do not want to be one of those businesses that are spamming customers, that are over-targeting the same customer, or sending a one-size-fits-all, right? So I'm going to start with, a conversation which starts from the first point of a customer and a business, right? So if I think about the entire life cycle of any business from a customer standpoint, there is discovery, where a customer first discovers a brand. There is engagement, where the brand and customer have come together. There's some engagement over there, but it's not yet converted. There's then purchase, where the customer has gone ahead and converted. And then there's post-purchase or customer support for all things that comes after the sale has made. For the sake of today's webinar, we're going to focus on the first aspect, that means new user acquisition, engagement, and actual purchase journeys, right? How do we get customers into shopping mode? Because all of us have budgets, right? We're all going to buy new clothes, new shoes, new gadgets, and there are these key days like Dasera, Dhanteras, Diwali, where shopping spirits are exceptionally high. Right, so I'm going to start with new user acquisition. Um, the main premise today for social media was that an ad that's posted on Facebook redirects to your website or landing page, right? Now, there are some pixels in place that may or may not send this information back to you, but we've launched and piloted something that is called ads that click to WhatsApp, right? So instead of your traditional ads that take your user onto the app, you can now take full control and build a first party database by launching ads on Facebook that redirect the user to WhatsApp. What's in it for your business? A, the minute a customer sends you a first message on WhatsApp, you capture their phone number, right? The minute you've captured the phone number, it gives you a lifelong added customer acquired that you can re-engage with and over-engage with and make sure that they're retained and they're a loyal customer. Second, it gives you ownership of the customer relationship, right? So tomorrow, if an algorithm is not working the way it's supposed to be working, you will not lose out on your monetization strategy, or you will not miss out on your targets this festive season. And lastly, and most importantly, WhatsApp today has 590 million users that are active on the app, right? And in the world, there are over 2 billion, right? In India, it's as much as a smartphone penetration proxy, right? App downloads saturate at 100 million, 150 million at most, but how do you go from 150 million to the next 500, right? How do you acquire that set of customers? And the answer is WhatsApp. So if your product is catered for the larger Bharat, for the tier 2, tier 3 audiences that may not be as app heavy or app centric, I would strongly urge you to pilot a couple of campaigns this festive season. Next, in a world where you've acquired customers, but they have for some reason not converted or they have not made the purchase, that's where we plug and play WhatsApp, right? It's the incrementality of the channel that adds beauty to it. While we're all fighting with social media time, we do still believe that messaging is the key driver. And for businesses, this should be used extremely judiciously. So imagine a world where a customer has browsed your app for 10 minutes but has not purchased. They have logged in and created an account but have not made a purchase. They have probably even eyed a particular product for a very long time, but they have not completed the order, or they have been dormant in the past 3 to 6 months, right? Where they've just placed one order, but for some reason, we're not able to take them to the second order. So there, let's send out extremely personalized, always having the name of the customer, sending them a message that, hey, Archana, we see that you have created your account, or we see that you've purchased your account, and this festive season, we have 3 or 4 more offers for you that will help you look good or look beautiful for this festive season, right? But a couple of key call outs I want to make here is that if a customer has browsed your app or has browsed a particular product and has dropped off, it's possible that they may not only be interested in that product, right? So if you see the first image, there are 3 call outs that we have made, right? There's rings, there's necklace, and there's earrings. I've added 3 conversion levers in one particular message to make the most of my WhatsApp, right? So adding multiple conversion levers for different product and different categories within the same messages will actually really help you drive this incremental ROI. And also a small button where a customer can reply and get access to a PDF as a cheat sheet, as we call it, will always create brand recall value, and they will remember that PDF message even in a future scenario where they want to maybe come back and shop. Right? The next use case would be, something that we all love, drop off, abandoned cart, wish list reminders, where there is a very high intent to buy and it's a cost that you've already incurred where you acquired the customer, you have got them engaged on the app, but for some reason they've added products to their cart and not shopped, right? In this, key things to keep in mind. One, the message should be very unique to every customer, right? So I, Archana, should receive a message saying, hi Archana, we see you were browsing this kurta. we now have this kurta on a 25% off for you, and here is another 10% off for the bank that you're working with. Right now, if it's so unique to me, the incremental ROI that you will get can be as high as 57% click-through rates. Right? There's a business that drove $500,000 worth of sales in just 1 month just by implementing unique drop-off and abandoned cart campaigns. Again, in this case, I would urge you to have multiple conversion levers where you also give the customers your other hero callouts, right? Like if you see the third screen, lehenga at 50% off, silk saree at 60, and footwear at 35. That means I'm giving the customer the opportunity to scroll more while telling them that, hey, why don't you go ahead and convert this? Next, while so far we've been focusing on one-way driven communication and slightly more, notification nudges, we can also drive really rich upsell and cross-sell on WhatsApp by using the catalog message, right? So what now you can actually do is you can create an incentive for the end customer and tie it back to their previous purchase. For example, hey Archana, you bought this kurti, why don't you go ahead and buy pants that go well with it? Or you bought this shirt, why don't you buy earrings that go very well with it, right? So low ticket size products, which are not, very difficult for the customer to go and buy, your best selling products work the best in this category, right? So a nice 30 message catalog, 30 product catalog, which has low ticket size, your best sellers, and also every business knows internally which are the products that make your customers loyal, right? Like for example, for a cosmetic company, there is a kajal which works really well. It costs, let's say, 200 rupees. And that has been a key driver for a lot of online cosmetic companies to gain customer loyalty and to build customer retention, because you don't really have to think that much about it. You just go ahead, add to cart, and you can go ahead and purchase. So use some of these tricks and tips in order to drive the customer from your zero to first to nth order. And the minute that customer has reached that nth order, it's okay to not nudge them further. It's okay to stop conversations with them because you've gained their brand loyalty. And then we move on to more engaging journeys. Like, for example, you can do a quiz on WhatsApp, something like Bhavna talked about. You can send them stickers. You can send them a happy Diwali greeting message. It's not necessary to always drive campaigns that lead to net sales. Next, and this is something that will work extremely well for, the festive season. How businesses look at the festive season is that they will send one important message on, the day there is a mega sale event, and they expect the, conversion rates to go dramatically higher. However, that's not always the case, right? You need to have a fluent, regular conversation mechanism or thread with your end customer where they now trust the offers that you're sending them on WhatsApp, right? So what I would strongly encourage all marketers here today is that if you've not started business as usual campaigns for your end customer for this festive season, you must start right now, because the customer need to get comfortable with the fact that they may receive messages from you, right? So some of the very large retails and e-commerce and FinServe businesses in India start usually with a new launch announcement or a precursor to your sale, saying that, hey, we're now launching this product. Why don't you go ahead and look at it? And by the way, we may go on sale, and stay tuned for more update. Then occasionally, or if there's a larger season, and we have Dussehra, we have Navratri coming up, when you send the customer a greeting message and also tell them that our sale starts in the next 48 or 60 hours. If you've not started wishlisting your product, go now and at least start looking at the website, right? Now, these two messages alone will urge the customer to at least look at the products that are on your app. Otherwise, it can get a little overwhelming, right? I may not know on the final day, what do I even want? So even though I get the right message at the right time, I may not convert, right? So it's very important to start and build that, brand recall value with your end customer. Next, and this is one of the use cases that leads to the highest ROI, product replenishment reminders, right? So this is one of those categories that customers are wanting to receive a message for, right? For example, if any of your brands have a bestseller item which you know keeps going out of stock, make sure to send that message, to your end customer that the product has been replenished. Why don't you go ahead and shop? Right? This is that category that if a customer needs this product and they've not got this message from your brand, they will most likely look for an alternative, whether it's online or offline, because it's a product that they absolutely need. And to build that urgency, and to make sure that you inform the customer that you have it, WhatsApp plays a pivotal role because this is a kind of a message that the customer wants from you. Next, and this is this should be treated slightly differently. It's reactivating customers that had shopped with you at some point but have not shopped recently, right? So whatever, as a marketer, whatever is the metric you're targeting to consider a customer lapse user, right? Whether it's D60, D90, it could be even more than that. Do not directly ask the customer to buy by sending them a sale message, right? You need to warm this relationship up, right? So you start with something quirky and something unique. Or like, for example, what you see on the screen is, why don't you just go ahead and drop a survey saying that, you had bought this product, how do you like it? Or why don't you, say that, hey, we're planning a small quiz this World Cup, would you be interested in participating? If there are any celebrities that your brands are working with, then celebrity-driven use cases also work really well, where you say that, hey, I am, I'm Kareena Kapoor. These are my favorites. Would you like to know more? And by the way, there are some stickers of me that you can download from WhatsApp. Why don't you go ahead and reply, right? So, messages that are targeted to create brand recall in the end customer's inbox, but do not necessarily ask them to buy, because they may sort of irritate them and they might be taken aback that, hey, I've not shopped from them in a while. Why am I receiving this message? So it's important to be mindful of how the customer may feel. Drive store visits is again a very important one for businesses that are offline. So what you can do is you can send coupon codes, and this is how you can measure how many people from online actually came to offline. You can drive cool use cases like scratch and win, where if a customer gets a WhatsApp message, you reply and the scratching happens, and there's actually a coupon code that gets revealed, which the customer can come in store and shop. We can also have appointment booking use cases, or customers sending in their PIN code and finding out, where the store is located. And specifically for businesses that deal in high ticket size products, I'd say anything over 3,000 to 5,000, these kind of use cases work really well because people want to touch and feel before they want to buy. Covered this before, but just to go over it, pre-purchase engagement is it's sending all of the communication to the customer before your mega sale event, right? So you've warmed up the relationship, the customer is aware and they're ready for what's coming and they're prepared for what they want to buy. A very important use case, which I feel lacks overall, in India, is driving offline customers also to online, right? So when is the last time that you would have thought that, hey, why don't I place a QR code, in my store so customers can come on WhatsApp, right? We don't really think in that direction. It's more of the other way around. But what we have seen and some of the use cases that Bhavna showed is allowing customers to reach out to you and giving them some incentive in order to do so, right? Like, for example, the incentive here is get a free taco. It could be anything, right? It could be anything to drive a purchase. It makes the customer very curious, right? The last thing that, you have to lose is a customer scrolling and saying hi, but not, not actually shopping, but that's fine. You've got access to their phone number. You know for a fact that they're interested. And there are so many different ways we can engage with them in future once we have their phone number, right? So it's really important to drive use cases that build virality of a business, right? People actually talk about these things, right? I may want to tell a friend that, hey, did you do this and did you win a free taco, or, you did not. It also creates some level of FOMO, right? People start forwarding these phone numbers, WhatsApp phone numbers to each other. So there's a lot, that we can actually do. And therefore, I want to reiterate that if you as a marketer have a use case on your mind, which you feel like it can be fulfilled on WhatsApp, and it may not just be, a simple transactional conversation, then please talk to us. A couple of best practices that I want to cover quickly. Um, One, I'd say start now, right? You do not want to spook your customer on the last day. It's very important to be aware what kind of copies, what kind of cohorts, what kind of media images, what kind of templates you may want to use for the festive season, right? And a lot of the science already resides within your business, right? Like one of the examples I gave earlier was use a best selling product, use a low ticket size product that works very well for a new customer, right? Product replenishment works very well for retention, right? What's the answer for you? Right, and the more loyalty and awareness you drive for your customers during the pre-sale season, the better the sales season will actually work out for you, right? Have personalized experiences, right? And the reason I insist is that we have seen that even by just adding the customer's name, the conversion rates go up by at least 2 to 3%. Right? That's how much impact it makes. Like your name is the most favorite sound to a human mind that you can see or hear from another person. So use that. If you have your customer's name, address them by it. It would be appreciated. Um, Last, do not do just a one-way broadcast, right? Look at the kind of cohorts you have, right? Like whether these are new users who have not placed the order, users who placed one order but have not continued in the journey, and this is a very loyal customer that shops by default, right? And then experiment with which cohort should be sent which template and what's the ROI that we're getting. The right kind of A/B testing mechanism goes a very, very long way, right? And I want to go over this because it's one of the most fundamental and the most easiest you know suggestions that a business can implement is to design good copies, right? A good copy goes a very, very long way, right? In a world where we're bombarded with information overload, a crisp with a good image, to the point copy does very well with multiple conversion levers, right? So I'll go over the copy on my left hand side. So, hey Akash, always address the customer by their name. What is the incentive or what is your hero call out? Right? My hero call out is that my Diwali bumper sale is live. The first two lines, depending on the phone of your screen, the first two lines of any message template should be optimized to emphasize on this hero call out, right? So that means all your favorite styles are at least at a 50% off, right? Now I have given the customer enough or more incentive on their lock screen for them to open your message. Now they've opened your message and you then tell them some of your top 2 or top 3 conversion levers that has worked well for you in the past, right? For this, it's clothing and accessories start at $299, the link to that. 70% off on brands, which is a whole different category, right? So I've spoken about clothing and accessories. I am then telling the customer about brands that they like, which is a different category. And last, if you buy one, you get one free, right? 3 very hero call outs, all very spread out. Where the customer will get interested, we don't know that yet, but it's important to find out, right? And it will increase the ROI. Last, please add reply stop to unsubscribe or have a button right there and there which tells the customer that they can click on the stop button to stop receiving messages, because if they don't want to, it's okay, right? It's okay. And also some two-way engagement levers where if the customer can talk to you, which is very important on WhatsApp, in that case, they should be able to reach out to you by exploring more deals, or if there's a contest, then they can reply just by clicking on the quick reply button. Last, before I end, some validation that I'd like to share with all of you, and Bhavna at Vartika, if both of you could also support me in calling out this one slide out, which is very, very important to the Gupshup team here. We were recently awarded the only global partner of the year award by Meta at the Meta Conversations event. This means a lot to us as a team, and it just validates the kind of effort we put and how much we believe in business messaging. It's our DNA. We've always been a business that supports businesses like yours connect better with your consumers, and we'll always continue to do so. Bhavna, if you may want to add, Vartika. Before I hand it off to Vartika, she's pure marketer at heart, and she's going to be moderating a fireside chat, and I'll let her introduce. But before that, two lines on the slide, please.
No, many congratulations, our WhatsApp girl. I think this, goes on to talking about not just, what we are doing with Meta as their global leading part of the year, but also behind the scenes, a lot of innovations that we are bringing to the market first. And like what Archana said, if there is some crazy idea, it's not crazy at all. We would love to work with you on that. Bring more innovations this festive season and beyond. So, yeah, many congratulations, Archana, especially to you and all the team members who are working with Meta very closely. And so are so many of our customers, right? So with that, I think what I'll segue into is one of the very interesting sessions where I have one of the subject matter experts, Saurabh Agarwal, joining me today for a fireside chat. Archana, if we can stop sharing this. And Saurabh, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect.
Awesome. So hi Saurabh, and welcome to the webinar where we will pick your brains on how you think we can bring customers closer this holiday season and beyond. Just a little bit intro about Saurabh. Um, Saurabh is a subject matter expert, and he's also known to be the data-driven marketer who's passionate about all things tech, analytics, and marketing. I think in today's marketing world, you cannot live without either one of these pillars, right? So Saurabh here has worked with Lenskart in the past, Tata, and also Amex. And he's one of the top 100 AI leaders and the leadership development voice on LinkedIn. So it's a pleasure to have you here, Saurabh. And what I would love to talk about today is for all of our audience to learn from your insights. It's a very high benchmark that Archana and Bhavna have set with all the examples, but we want to hear from you, some of the real life examples. So I'll be asking you a few questions, Saurabh, and we'll wrap it with a fireside chat, and then would love for you to stay a little bit onwards for some Q&A that our prospects and customers might have.
Sure. Love to share my perspective. And congratulations to the Gupshup team. I have worked very closely in my past 3 years, and in my new role also, I'm working very closely on few of the use case, especially the online offline. So there are two use case which the team shared, which I'm working these days. So there is no crazy idea which is crazy enough, and I would vouch for it. I came up with multiple ideas, and the team delivered it very fast. So we'll share in our chat as
Awesome. So Likita, what we'll do is also take live some of the polls so that Saurabh and I can navigate basis what our audience is up to today. So if we can make live some of the polls, that'll be helpful. So for everyone who is participating, you see this you must be seeing this on your screen now. So there's a question about, so what according to you is the best day for brands to send a WhatsApp message? So please fill in your experience about what has worked for you. Is it a Monday? Is it a Sunday? And then Saurabh will tell us about, from his experience, what has worked the most for him. So Monday is getting 0 votes. Saurabh, is Monday a no go?
So yeah, so I would not generalize the answer actually. So this was a trick question. What I would say is, like Archana also talked about, this is the campaign you are doing. One has to set. There is always a set of users who are active, and there is a different audience available. Uh, like Friday, Saturday, people tend to have the maximum WhatsApp coming out Thursday and Wednesday. Yeah. So this is what I expected. But what I would say is, don't consider WhatsApp only as a broadcast channel. Okay. And Archana talked about that. There are things of new user onboarding, and there are things that you can put on QR codes on the store. So there is a lot of inbound customer events you can use to nudge WhatsApp, which is not dependent on any day, but it is dependent on the user activity. That's one set, which is also a very big set. And trust me, that gives you 80-85% read rates. So one of the key metrics I use is read rate as a big metric. The problem what happens is, if everybody thinks Saturday is the thing, then think about, as a customer, you might receive 20 WhatsApp messages. So one has to figure out what does work for you best. And it's not about when you want to send the person to buy. It's also when you want to send the person to be influenced. The second question which actually comes is what's the time? Now think about there is Friday, Saturday coming in, and then everyone gets 20 WhatsApp, and then you get, okay, I'll uninstall WhatsApp. So definitely figure out what works best. Try out different times, morning, evening. Say Monday also works best. Like 2nd October was a Monday and it was a holiday. So brands were also trying Monday.
Totally agree with you there, Saurabh. It's not about Sunday or Monday. It's about, sending the right message to the right person on the right day and time. So thank you
Yeah.
for that and the trick question. And we've launched the next question, just having an audience poll asking about, whether or not they're using WhatsApp actively. About 52% of the audience says that they're using it actively, and the other 43 experimentally, and a meager 4% who's using it not using it actually. So that's an interesting number, and thank you for joining in. And I hope the previous two sessions were also helpful in understanding how to better some of the WhatsApp marketing strategies. So we'll dive into more. But Saurabh, isn't it good to know that most of the audience here has done something or the other with
Yeah,
WhatsApp?
it's very amazing to know. And I think so experimenting is the key way because, to generate the right ROI, you need to run experiments, whether it is on the offer, it's on the copy, whether it is on the nature of the campaign, which one can do. So, yeah. So the next question is, have you seen any bad WhatsApp messages? And if the answer is yes, we would love to hear you in the comment section. What are some bad WhatsApp messages? Or what really irritated you with the WhatsApp message?
Right. So 74% of us know exactly what is a bad WhatsApp copy. So I think the audience here is very learned. They know what not to do, Saurabh. So that makes our job easy. But let me dive into, some questions. We talked about online, we talked about offline. I want to just ask you that there are a lot of channels that are available today for brands to connect with their customers on. So which are the most important channels according to you? And if you could also tell us why.
So see, to me, where the customer is the most important channel. I will go by that, and there will be always a tectonic shifts happening. A lot of times, people were on broadcast channels like reading newspaper, TVs, billboards. But those were one-way communication. Now, as Archana also mentioned, that there are about 500 million customers on WhatsApp. So it's a platform which a country like India is. So there is a big audience sitting in. Now the question is how one can tap in into it and try out is the key thing. The next place, definitely people are on WhatsApp for conversations and it's one of the top three apps. I think so today I use WhatsApp more than I phone or messaging. The next area which I think so most of us are is on the social media, and whether it's on YouTube, whether it is on Instagram, and there is an audience on Facebook also. So these channels have emerged as the most channel where people are. The key for brands today is how do you best leverage to influence the people and not nudge them beyond a point.
So no channel can be ignored. At the same time, there are more channels on the rise. So I guess having a more optimal strategy across channels is the key. So sort of we also talked about that a lot of conversations are today happening on WhatsApp, yes, but also on social channels such as Instagram, Facebook, and so on. So in your mind, why do you think are these conversational channels on the rise? Not just for peer to peer conversations, but for brand to customer conversations.
Yeah. So I think so one thing which it was mentioned in prior in the session is the thing about broadcast communication to conversation is changing. As we talked about, billboards is where you show and you don't get the person to react. So the good part about is when you think about social media or this, people can react to the conversation. They can react to the communication, click the thing, go to their website, check out. But now the problem what has happened is if a company has an app, think about it. They will show an Instagram post, then they will click it, then they will download the app, then they will have a person drop off, then they will send a push notification. 30% push notification only goes, 70% doesn't go. Then you will send them a WhatsApp communication. So the the journey is becoming very, very complex also, and there are a lot of drop offs. So I guess at least Meta's ecosystem seems to be very strong, where you can take the person from the WhatsApp, from the Instagram to a WhatsApp, and actually acquire the first party data or the phone number or identity. Now, why does that help? Is because then you know the customer, and definitely first party communication is, in my experience, is 10 times more cheaper or has a better ROI than the thing when you do it in open environment. Now, I'm not discouraging you to use Instagram, but you think about it as a top funnel where you discover people whom you don't know, and then you use your first party data for people whom you know, and then you can send them more personalized messages or communication in your channel. So, building first party database is inevitable, especially with the ecosystems becoming difficult, and finding easier methods to get in. Think about, you ask them to download an app, then do this, that, then log in. So, it's a very, very complex journey and very costly journey to get a phone number. I'm not even telling you to ask the person to buy anything, but just to acquire the identity of the person. So
Right.
convergence of Instagram, WhatsApp is a key thing which is happening with some things like click to WhatsApp ad and different places. But I think so WhatsApp in a way gets you the control on customer's identity, but with a lot of responsibility.
Absolutely. And in fact, when we did the poll earlier, we saw that a lot of our audience here today is from e-commerce, retail, and FMC, and also fintech. One thing that we've seen work very well with our customers also, especially during this entire World Cup holiday season, is sort of building their first party data for the first time. A lot of retail companies have a lot of customers walking into their stores. They may be having a diary to maintain the customer history, but not really a first party database that they can action upon. And that is where AI powered or non AI powered chatbots, whether on WhatsApp or Instagram, or leading from even a hoarding onto WhatsApp, is becoming key to building their audience base for, again, marketing and remarketing. So thanks for sharing that, sort
Yeah.
of similar, seeing a very similar trend. So talking about, you touched upon a lot of traditional channels coming into play in marketing as well, and the fusion of new age channels like conversational marketing. So I want to ask you from your experience that a lot of marketers are very attuned to optimizing ad copies, landing pages, performance of their campaigns. But when it comes to chatbots, how can marketers look at it from the same lens that once a chatbot is built and shipped, it's never done? How do we get into that mind frame and of optimizing, and what are the checkpoints that one marketer should look out for?
So I guess, the first thing which starts is the right copy to trigger the conversation. Now, if it is an inbound channel, then it's okay because then the customer initiated communication is there. So, for example, if you place a QR code, the person will scan and get into it, and then the bot starts. Now, how you put it's like a tree. Okay, you have three options, then you have two options, and then where does the customer drop off? Now, here a lot of learning comes in by strong data analytics. Okay, how you know which is the drop off which is happening? Are there dead spots coming in? Are people able to go to the right place? And then if somebody has left the conversation somewhere, you have a 24-hour window. So can you nudge him back again to come back into the flow and re-trigger it? So what I would say is, yes, the first version of it will be made with whatever you believe, but don't make it too complex. Sometimes we want to fit in all the use cases, we want to create the entire tree, but keep it simple. The customer is not as intelligent as you are. They will want to start. So start simple, measure every node and see what is happening, and then see which node is giving you good conversions and where it is landing. And I've, with my personal experience, seen the bots might have dead ends also where the customer gets stuck up. So definitely look at your, so you need to have a very good chatbot platform which can enable you to view the conversations and validate it. So that will be key. From a content copy, what I would say is, a lot of times now I get irritated by seeing a lot of long copies that you have to scroll to even read it. So it's very important that you keep the copies simple. light. You should not have 50 MB videos coming in or 10 MB videos. You should have very small, like if you want to throw video, do 2 MB videos or something, but keep it simple, short. Don't use flowery language, is a key thing, because sometimes we sitting in South Bombay might think India is very different. Okay, so it's better that a person with very basic English should be able to read it and understand it.
Absolutely. I think you started the discussion with how how a bad ad copy could look. So Saurabh, tell us your secret. Are you using ChatGPT or any other Gen AI tool to become more creative, or are you seeing that become too flowery?
So there are two peaks, it's like what I would say generative AI is like what calculator did to maths. Okay, calculator made everyone to love maths or to at least help yourself with maths. What I'm seeing is ChatGPT is making everyone be better at languages. Okay. Now, what it has also the other side I've seen is today by looking at a WhatsApp copy, you can tell somebody has written with ChatGPT or not. That's a dangerous piece. Okay, when you start saying too much of emojis, too long, too verbose English, too much flowery English, you start knowing that the message is written with ChatGPT. So, uh, start with a very clean thought of yours. Use ChatGPT to ideate, but definitely make it real from a person. I don't have an answer to it, but make sure you test it. A lot of times people don't even test it. They write a copy in an email, send it on a Google Doc, but testing WhatsApp copies to each other, see how does the preview message look on the lock screen, on the preview screen, because the first 5 letters matter a lot. And look at and send it to 5 friends of yours and ask them the feedback. So to me, a lot of I have stopped using ChatGPT for my content, and it makes it more real sometimes. But it can be abused a lot. But yeah, it is a very good tool for creators to be fast at creating. But you need to have the creativity starting point with yourself rather than with the tool. Uh, and that's where I've seen that gap happens. And I am sure many people would have seen that they would have said, "यार ये तो chat GPT से लिखा हुआ है," and then you lose the respect for the brand. So how do you make sure you use it wisely to maybe refine your copy and maybe use it ideation, but build your personal thing. Maybe introduce some spelling errors sometimes and try out. Having two perfect copies is also not good.
Makes sense. So what you're saying is use it when you're blocked with ideas, take inspiration from it, but still go back to the writing board and write it in your own flavor for it to be more successful and test it out. So great, thanks for sharing that. And sort of you've talked a lot about bad copies. Do you want to share any example of a brand without really taking the name, just in case they're here? But what is a bad ad copy to you? And how can marketers stay away from it?
So three things which I've seen which qualifies for a bad copy in my view. Okay, one is a very, very long copy. Okay, where you have to scroll. A copy should not occupy more than two-thirds of the screen. That's one. The second, which I've seen, is copying an SMS template and sending it as a WhatsApp copy. Okay. WhatsApp is very good with rich media. So at least have some bit of image to talk about what you want to say. So not using graphic, I think so it's crime. Okay. So use a simple graphic to it is great. The third thing which I've seen is using not simple English or simple language. Okay. A lot of times people end up using a lot of complicated language and this. And try to be little different. Like always sending sale message is also a irritant. Okay. A lot of time managing the communication frequency. So for example, in some brands send 4 WhatsApp copies in a day or in a week. So how do you balance the right communication frequency is very important, so that you don't over bombard the customer and then he ends up blocking you or marking you as a spam. So
Right.
yeah, it does not require too much, because it's like a bigger email to be condensed. It's a very short thing.
Yeah.
It is very powerful, but it needs to be done with a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, actually, Archana had shown some, how to use the long copy, how to break it, how to, give links in between, have three
Mm.
meaningful hero messages. So maybe Archana, if you want to type in, when is a long copy good and when is a long copy not good, Would love to have your thoughts on that as well. Uh, cool. So, Saurabh, we are a little out of time. So, I'm going to ask you my favorite part of the fireside, which is a rapid fire round. And you have to be honest here, okay, Saurabh? So,
Sure,
the
sure.
first question to you is, do you prefer calling a business or chatting with a business?
Starting with the business.
Okay. And which was the last chatbot you interacted with and when?
It was with the sleep company chat, but I was testing it today because we are going live with on that use case which you guys showed.
Right.
So
So
yeah,
spoke like a true marketer, he was testing his own chatbot. So
yeah.
no funny pointers there. Okay, and Saurabh, this is one of my pain points and questions. Are you influenced by ads on social media? Yes or no?
Yeah, yeah. Yes, yes, a lot. I have
So
everyday couriers coming in to things which I don't need, I end up buying. And yeah.
that was going to be my next question. Have you ever bought something that you have no need for just because you got a dopamine fix by seeing some quirky ad on social media? So you said yes, you do. So what was the last thing you purchased on Instagram, influenced by ads?
So I bought this Physics Wala. I don't know if you know Physics Wala as a company. I
Yes.
was checking out some of his videos, and I was like, it is so so affordable that I ended up buying. Like my son is in 10th and he's giving preparing his for his college for his exam, so I bought some package for it. I don't know whether he will use it or not, but I ended up buying it. It was like $2,000. I said, "इतना सस्ता books थोड़ी ना मिलता है." तो,
Nice. Glad to know Physics Wala is our customer and must be one message touched via Gupshup, another one. Cool. So, Saurabh, this is my last question to you, and a heavy one. As a marketer, what is that one learning that you possess today that you wish you knew when you started your career?
So yeah, see, as a marketer, see, I became a marketer from an analytics guy. Okay, I started as an analytics guy, then I came into marketing because I was using data quite a bit. So I used to believe that, uh, getting the right segment, getting the right uh, offer has a big role to play, which it does. But what I've lately realized is the importance of copy and creative is very, very high. Okay. With the same copy, creative, personalization, I've seen the CTRs going up 3x or 4x. Okay. And by optimizing it very well. And we don't give that much thing. We leave it to Chat GPT or somebody else to do it, or somebody in the copy creative team. But we don't put our soul. I'll tell you one example. In my last company, we did a personalization campaign where we created a coupon code with the name of the person, 4 letters of the name, and the last five as the phone number. Very similar to when we have to open up the ITR thing. Okay, no, that they ask you to put the PAN and then very similar combination. But we did it in a manner that the customer can remember. So if my name is Saurabh and my phone number ends with 5073, it will be SAUR 5073. So we created a GV code and we gave him 23 rupees in the GV on 1st of January. And that became so viral that it drove heavy footfalls on the store. So what my realization is, when you combine the element of timing, personalization, right channel, right copy, everything, it can really create magic, and your stores or your businesses can see and real uptake. Uh, just doing what everyone else is doing will not get you superb results. But and then a lot, I used to undermine experimentation, used to trust my gut too much. But trusting experiments, like say for example, if I want to throw a 1 crore WhatsApp copy, so what we used to start doing is we used to do a 20,000 to WhatsApp copy a day in advance, and see which one has a better CTR or ROI, and then scale that copy next day. So those are two things: experimentation and copy optimization and personalization were my three learnings.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing all of that so candidly. So analytics are good, but creativity can change the game is my summary out
Yeah,
of your learnings.
yeah, yeah. But one thing which I would say is, to know which creative works, you need to have analytics. So if you don't have analytics, you are like a blind mind with just another opinion. Okay.
Absolutely. So juggling it, the best of both worlds. Have a gut feeling, make a piece of content, try it out, and then optimize. Right, Saurabh?
Yep.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing those insights. If you have any questions specifically for Saurabh as well, please do put it in the chat box. I don't see any open questions. So probably I'll take a minute to just recap what all we learned in the last hour. What we learned is that there are 23% more shoppers looking to buy this festive season, carrying 84% higher budgets than last time. We also learned about some of the do's and don'ts of building a conversational marketing strategy from Archana. And then we dived into learning from Saurabh about really how to bring customers closer with festive season, keeping the analytical and marketing hat on both. And more importantly, how to not just bring customers closer, but keep them for life. And with that, if there are any open questions, now's your time. Please post that in. We'll just wait a few minutes. Karen, would you like to just post in your question over here in the Q&A box that you see down below? I think Karen had raised a hand, but I think no other open questions. Karen, if you have any questions, please do reach out to us. Would love to answer that. And if anybody has questions for Saurabh, send them in. We'll send him the question. You can find him on LinkedIn, Saurabh Agarwal. So thank you so much for joining in today. Thanks, Bhavna, Archana, Tanvi, Likita, and special thanks to you, Saurabh, for sharing all your insights.
Thank you very much, guys. Really fun session and learned a lot myself.
Yes, absolutely. And
Kind
Gupshup
of, Saurabh.
festivity, as you can all see. So tell us what all cool things you want to do this festive season. And Archana is taking the responsibility of taking it live.
Absolutely.
All right.
Always.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.